Show. I'm Pete Overzet. Everyone watching live here on the Pete Overzet YouTube channel. And we got our guys here, Brandon Marshall, Tyrann Mathieu, Derek Carr. We've been rehearsing for the big show tomorrow. We're going to talk some shop today. I'm going to pick these guys' brains about some players we've been drafting all summer long in fantasy. How we doing, guys?
Doing a
great.
Pre-game show.
Pre-game.
Ready to go.
Ready to
Doing
go.
phenomenal.
And we do have a game tonight. Obviously, we're going to be getting ready for the game in Brazil tomorrow, but we got, of course, the Cowboys and the Eagles tonight. You were talking about George Pickens earlier. You excited to see him in that Cowboys uni?
I mean, before you talk about that, you got to talk about Micah Parsons. What are you doing, Jerry Jones? What's Jerry Jones doing? But no, I am excited to see George. He's one of those players that I'm fond of. I think that in the right environment with this. Probably is the right environment for him. I love Dak. He's easily a top 5 wide receiver. He's that dynamic.
Yeah. What about you? We had big news today. Derek Amari was going to go back to the Raiders, and then I guess he just wanted to retire there. Did you get the inside scoop on what was going on with that?
I have no inside scoop. Completely shocked as we were walking in here. I was like, Amari retired? I was as shocked as everybody. But you talk about a great teammate and a great basketball player. Got a great basketball player. We used to go to 24-hour fitness in Livermore all the time, played hoops until I was like, all right, we got to stop rolling our ankles, and we started playing pool basketball.
Yeah.
So, much love to Coop. Love you, bro. And good luck, man, on everything else you're about to do.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Yep.
Yeah, probably the best 1-2 receiver, too, right?
1-2? Oh, my goodness.
Probably the best of the best.
And getting there. Man, he ran the coldest slow go. Go ahead and look at that for respect to Coop. Because the Eagles are playing tonight. Go look at the slow go he ran on Monday Night Football, and we threw him a touchdown. It absolutely destroyed the corner.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
With Amari, you said basketball. Devontae, pretty good basketball player too. Who's the best basketball players in the NFL?
Oh man, Tay's up there. Tay's up. Josh Jacobs can hoop too. I can shoot now. I'm gonna give great effort.
Yeah.
I'm great effort.
3-and-D guy.
3-and-D. Absolutely. Great court vision.
Yeah.
I can see the field. But no, Tay, one time, true story. We walked into the gym. This was in Palo Alto. His shoes were untied. I said, bro, can you even still dunk? Shoes untied, cold, 360 between the legs. I was like, all right.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
True story, bro.
360 between the legs?
Between the legs, 360, untied Jordans on.
Was this early in y'all career,
this was like third, fourth year of our career.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can. Once my head hit the top of the backboard, second, third year,
Right.
I surprised myself. I can see that.
Tyrann, can you throw it down?
I could throw it down. Actually, my first injury was actually me falling on my wrist in high school because I was trying to dunk on something. That's my first injury. Yeah, I popped it back in.
Isn't that's a little taboo for you guys though, right? Like when you're in the NFL playing, auxiliary sports, you can't be going snowboarding, twisting your ankle playing basketball. That's a no-no, right?
No, that's contract voided. Yeah. That's what happens there if you do anything like that. When I was playing for the Denver Broncos, where you're from, I was walking to our neighborhood rec center, and I was walking through the grass, and it was dark, and there was a pothole, and I tweaked my ankle. And the only thing I could think about was, man, if I actually hurt myself just walking, I would have been out of position to get that big deal. I haven't signed my big deal at that point yet. And so ever since that moment, everything I did, whether I put my hand in the sink or went on a walk in the grass, I always looked at any type of hazards because of that. And you're talking about like snowboarding and all these other things, jet skiing. Forget that. Your contract can be voided if it's a non-football injury.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to be very careful. I ended up snowboarding. I said, forget it. I saw Tom Brady flying down the mountain, going like 80 miles per hour skiing, and he was still playing. I said, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm out here in Denver in these beautiful mountains. Let me try this thing. I've been snowboarding since.
My high school basketball coach wouldn't let me snowboard, so I can only imagine what your actual NFL coaches would say. I think when you saw Devontae Adams doing 360 dunks, you were probably like, hey, maybe we chill out with this.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? This is probably not the best idea. And when we were there that day, I can dunk. I can dunk off vert, too. Now, I don't know about it anymore, but I could at one point.
Interesting.
And he has a video of me getting hung on the rim because I tried to dunk one. It's hilarious. But
Do we have a basketball?
I went and made sure after he got that, I went and filmed like 3 of them. I said, if you ever post that, I got 3 of me dunking, bro.
I also wanted to ask you, we obviously have these guys playing in Brazil. I know you played a couple international games. How different is that, the preparation when you're having to go abroad?
I would say this to everyone listening. What you should do tonight is go get some room temperature water, case of it, and that's what you got to shower with. They wouldn't let us use the water. We had to shower with that. We had to, so you'd put the soap on, you'd use a bottle, you'd have to grab it and find another bottle, use another bottle. Like they were like so scared that whatever was going to happen, like all this kind of stuff. No one could leave the hotel. You couldn't do this, couldn't go leave the floor. It's a crazy thing. And the drives, we were talking about the drives that you have to make before the game and all this kind of stuff, getting tight. So it's an interesting time, but it's also one of the coolest environments you'll ever play in. This live atmosphere is unbelievable.
Special. A lot of people there too.
Where have you played?
I played in London. I played in I think Mexico City.
Yeah.
Mexico City was probably the most challenging, just because of the air.
Yeah.
And trying to breathe. And then too, we was worried about Coach Reed because our locker room was like, it felt like a mile away from the field.
Yeah.
Right? And so we had to walk or jog rather to the field. But Coach Reed had his golf cart, so like, he was the only one that wasn't like huffing and puffing. By the time we got back to the locker room, but it was fun, man. Seeing those many fans in there and just seeing how passionate they are about the game, is definitely a great experience. Yeah, sure.
Because some of those teams will go down like a week early to get acclimated to the altitude and stuff to get ready. Or would you prefer, hey, I just want to sleep in my own bed as long as I can and then get me there?
I think that's one of the biggest things to these international games, the preparation and the process going into it, right? They bring in all of these, each team is different, but for the most part, teams bring in all these experts, how to travel, sleep experts, nutritionists, what you should eat when you're on the plane. And some teams go out there early, and some teams, like the Chiefs, they just got there, 2 days ago? Yeah. Right? And they're playing tomorrow. So it's different. And then you're changing time zones. I've never seen so many people miss a team meeting than I did when we were in London because of the change in time zones. And we literally had half the team just get there and went in a room, unpacked, took a quick nap, and missed the team meeting. It was brutal. It was one of the most brutal things. One of my toughest moments, guys, when we played in London, we traveled over there and we were just like zombies. Yeah. Like for those 3 days leading up to the game. Like our practice went from supposed to be full speed to just walkthroughs, literally walkthroughs. Sunday came and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to play this game, but the energy and the fans gave us this juice where we could, right? And we came out and had a phenomenal experience and a phenomenal game, but it wasn't until kickoff where we had the energy to really play. Yeah.
So, Tyrann, a big question for the Eagles. Everyone wants to know, can they essentially replicate what they did last year? Can Barkley have another MVP-type campaign? Can the defense, just shut down every opponent? How hard is it to keep that level once you're elite on defense year to year?
It's extremely hard because, when you win in this league, man, everybody wants to get paid, right? Everybody wants shine. What I will say, who's a hero in my eyes, is Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every year he just drafts good football players, right? And so they could lose 2 or 3 guys every year, but, I think the way that they develop their players, I think that's going to be a real strength for them, going forward. They got a young team, but those guys can play.
Well, yeah, even like Cooper DeJean last year as a rookie steps in and is immediately a massive impact player. I feel like you have to have a really good infrastructure for that to actually pan out.
Pick 6, Super Bowl. I mean, probably could have went all pro if he played, started early in the year. Yeah, man, I think environment, coaching, and then leadership too. I feel like the Eagles have always had, great, stable leadership, really for like the last probably 6-8 years.
It's like he's playing Moneyball. How do you continue to stack these teams the way he's stacking these teams? Yeah, unbelievable.
It's impressive.
So, Derek, one of the kind of heated debates in the fantasy community this summer, we're drafting Saints players, people excited about both the wide receivers, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. There's kind of people in 2 camps. Who's the real number 1 in New Orleans? Do you have any thoughts here? You want to pick a favorite?
Do I want to pick a favorite? No. No, and I won't. But what I can say about Chris is he's one of the most crisp route runners you're ever going to see. His routes, the way he runs, the way he moves, he's real fluid. And he always finishes friendly to the quarterback, always finishing. He's going to make it really nice on Spence and like that. Yeah. And then when you go at Rashid, I mean, there's balls I threw to him that people are like, you probably shouldn't throw that, but Rashid's going to outrun that.
Yeah.
You know, like last year against Dallas, you know, I'm standing there on the star, and the safety is already running backwards. So is the other one, and so is the head coach and the defense coordinator. And I'm like, no, Rashid will get past him. And I threw it as far as I could, and he went and got it. So having that dynamic playmaking ability, if you're in one of them leagues that I'm learning about, you're teaching me where you get plus 40 yards, you get a couple points here, you get a couple. Rashid might be a guy for that kind of stuff too. But the volume of catches, I'm pretty sure they're going to try and get Chris the ball a lot.
There you go. I think that's where people are at, you know, as far as Chris Olave always going to be. We play in the, you know, the PPR, the points per reception. You get the Chris Olave in the standard leagues. You get Shaheed in those deep bombs. You told me you played in a fantasy league with some of the original Denver guys when you were on the team. What was it? It was Cutler, Scheffler. You were in a fantasy league with them?
Yes, there was a couple of us, right? But the core guys was Tony Scheffler, our tight end, Brandon Stokely, our slot receiver, and Jay Cutler. And we had some guys like Champ Bailey would join in every once in a while. It was an amazing experience. But that was my last time ever doing it. It just got too complicated. Like, you're talking about PPR this, and you got, you know, this league, that league. It's too complicated. It's an amazing thing. And I think now that you guys are retired, this whole, like prop bets and putting together parlays and fantasy football is going to be kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you see the game differently, right? Like, we don't understand that when we're playing. Like, you know, you hear players saying this all the time, like, who cares about your fantasy? Nobody cares about your fantasy or even your parlay, right? But, you know, doing podcasting and being in this space now, you get opportunities to work with some of those bigger players in the game. And so, you know, you get to create content around it. The first time I ever put together a parlay, I'm sitting there, and it made the game come to life, right? Like, when you're following these players or you're following these parlays. So fantasy football is cool, but you guys need to do a better job of teaching us real football players how to participate.
I got a YouTube channel for you. We'll get you deep in the weeds. We'll have you drafting hundreds of best ball teams. I'll get you squared away. Tyrann, you have to maybe appreciate, because these guys as offensive players, they hear the chirping from people who have them on the fantasy teams. There are IDP leagues. They call them individual defensive position leagues.
See what I'm saying?
But you probably didn't get as much chirping.
Right, as much, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, we was just talking about it. You know, every team I've ever played on, they just want me to catch interceptions that, you know, just make splash plays, you know, all the time. And, you know, that's not always the way, you know, it goes. But I'm glad I chose to play defense because, you know, I was an offensive player all the way up until maybe like sophomore year in high school. And then I kind of switched to cornerback. But, yeah, I don't think I can deal with all that, man, nowadays, you know. I'll just be out of whack.
That's right. Well, and I mean, I always have to offer the caveat and apologize on behalf of any fantasy player who is chirping a player, because you made the decision. You're the one who drafted them. You decided whether to start, sit them. So I apologize on behalf of all of the nerds in their basements.
No love lost.
You guys.
You don't have to. I think fantasy made a lot of us famous, especially when I first got in the league, 2006. It was becoming a thing. It wasn't the thing. And that's when I knew that I was becoming, I don't know if you want to call it known, famous, celebrity, whatever it was. Like, I went out to Vegas for a big fight, and I'm walking through the Wynn Hotel, and someone pulled me to the side and said, "Brandon Marshall, I got you on my fantasy league." I said, "What?" First, you know me. And second, what the hell is a fantasy league?
Yeah.
But fantasy has made a lot of us a lot of money and made us famous.
All right, well then, actually, I don't apologize, and you guys actually owe me. Is now kind of what I'm thinking.
Oh, that's it right there. We were eating lunch one time with my family, some friends, and this lady who was not as young as us was walking out, and she says, "You're my fantasy quarterback." And I was like, trying to be, "Oh, thank you so much." She's like, "No, you're my fantasy quarterback." I looked at my wife. I was like, "Did you hear that? What are we talking about?" So I don't know. Fantasy football is getting a little weird now. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to dig deeper in the details and make sure she's talking waiver wires and not hall passes. Right?
No.
Well, you were showing me a couple of your fantasy teams earlier today.
Yes.
You had 100% exposure to Jayden Higgins,
Yes.
the rookie wide receiver on the Texans. You hype on him?
Oh, I am. Look, my nephew was like, "Look, you're not playing anymore. You can play fantasy with us," because they wouldn't let me play. Because they're like, "That's not fair. You're going to do something to make sure you know too much. It's not fair." So now they let me in the league. My nephew's letting me play, and I'm a big Jayden Higgins fan. I really am. Like I think when I was watching his film, you see the size, you see all that, but when he catches that ball and he separates, like that's everyone. There's a lot of big receivers, as you know, B. Marsh, that catch the ball and they're down where they're going to be down, or they're going to have to fight. Man, he has a burst to him that I didn't know that he had. So I snuck him in there at the later picks. My nephew was like, "Who's this guy?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. All right, ask Pete."
You're playing fantasy football. Wow.
My nephew got me in.
Why?
That's
no,
your
I'm so
post-career.
surprised.
That's his retirement plan. Fantasy.
Only fantasy football, no other.
He's 100% full-time fantasy player now. When you, as a quarterback, do you ever get any input on the draft picks? Like you mentioned watching the film, like could you ever be like, hey, I've been seeing this kid. I think we should spend, a fourth-round pick on him. You get to do that?
So, it's funny. Tom Brady was just talking about this the other day with some of these quarterbacks and being involved. And I was luckily involved. Me and Coach Gruden have such a great relationship. When we drafted Henry Ruggs, he had me watch all the receivers. He's like, just tell me. He's like, because I never wanted to be the reason someone did get picked or not get picked or traded or not traded. He's like, just tell me your opinion in the best possible way. And I remember watching these guys, and I remember watching Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, all these guys that were coming out, Jerry Jeudy, and I had lists of plays, and I was like, here. And it was just one piece of information that they probably used, and we sat there and we had a conversation. Now, I didn't get to, make the selection or anything like that. But, when we took Henry, I already had notes. I already knew who he was because of the conversations they wanted me to have with them and making those decisions.
Yeah, that's cool. You hear stories too. Is that Mahomes, I think, really wanted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Did you ever give any of your opinions to the GM there on the defensive side?
A few times, but I'll go back even further than that. When I first came into the league, obviously I had my, situation at LSU or whatever, but Patrick Peterson was like a big reason why I got drafted to the Cardinals. And so, you see it every now and then. Somebody will stand on the table for you,
Yeah.
So that's how my career got started. So
Yeah.
shout out to Pat P. I don't know what he's doing now. He probably just golfing or, riding his cars or something. He got like 100 cars.
Brandon, are there any receivers you're particularly excited to watch this year? Maybe we can use it as a little intel for fantasy.
Yeah, George. We just talked about George Pickens, Nico Collins. We talked about him offline. Yeah. He's a top 5 wide receiver, like real deal. There's no speculation. It's not a conversation like a barbershop conversation. He is the real deal. Turn on the film and just watch. And he also has a dynamic quarterback, so that always makes it easier. And there's something special about the quarterback and wide receiver relationship. It's like spiritual. When you find that, man, it's like sometimes it's better than the girl you're dating if you're not married, right? Yeah. So he has that, Nico Collins and Stroud. But George is someone I'm really paying attention to. I always wanted to have just as good or better wide receiver next to me. I knew who I was as a wide receiver. But I always knew if I had another guy next to me, it opened the game up more for me and everyone else. And so when you think about George and now CD, this is going to be interesting. Like, obviously Dallas in a position now where you got to put up or shut up. Dak, if you don't get it done, what are you next? Do they trade you to Green Bay? I don't know, as a backup quarterback. I don't know. But George, CD, that's going to be dynamic. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And our game tomorrow, we're going to get to watch Xavier Worthy in action. Last time we saw him, he was absolutely crushing in the Super Bowl. What's it like, Tyrann? You got to see him up close there in KC a bit. I mean, that kind of speed, how hard is that to cover?
You almost got to get out of the frame, right? And, you'll hear coaches say that sometimes, like, come in the frame, come in the picture. But when that dude's out there, bro, you got to stand at 30 yards. You know what I mean? You got to keep that. You got to keep the top on the defense. You know what I mean? And especially, he was just talking about the quarterback relationship, man. Like, Patrick, them dudes could run anywhere on that football field, and Pat's gonna get the ball there. And that's what you got to have in your mind as a defender. So not too much looking backward as a football. You got to finish every down.
Mm.
Yeah, Brandon talking about the quarterback wide receiver relationships. There's been some popular narratives that in fantasy we talk about. There was the breakfast narrative with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. They, reportedly got breakfast, and then Cooper Kupp had that record-breaking season. Yeah. Is there truth to that, Derek? Do you guys bond? The more you bond, the better that on-field connection?
Absolutely. obviously one of my best friends in the world is Devontae Adams, and he had a record-setting career at Fresno State. Comes to Las Vegas, and just like that, has one of the best seasons of his career. And we didn't get to do it for too long after that. We only had 1 year to do it. But
Josh McDaniels.
Stop. No, man. But it's the bond. Like, we were so close. Coop, who just retired. We just talked about Crab. I had these guys. Seth Roberts, but I spent time with them. I made sure to spend time with those guys, inviting them to my house, just making every effort, FaceTiming them. Nowadays you got to FaceTime all the young receivers.
Right.
You're not going to call, just jump on the phone. You got to FaceTime them. Like, I got to see you, And you got to build that bond. So then when you do ask more from them, or you do ask them to do something crazy, like, dude, I'm going to chuck this ball way over here. Just don't stop running. I know it's 60 yards. I know you've been running for 40. Just keep running. That they'll do it for you, And the main thing for me with that relationship was, look, I'm going to throw some balls sometimes that are going to be 50-50, or maybe two-ish guys back there.
Might be in harm's way.
But it's got to be you or nobody.
Yeah.
And you build that bond and that trust and that love for each other. You know that he's going to knock it down if you don't make a great throw.
And then also the other part to that is, when the ball's not coming your way, you built that chemistry and that rapport to where your quarterback can come to you and be like, I got you.
Yeah.
Or receivers, we will lose it every once in a while, right? And we may say something to our brother, our best friend, the guy that literally just gave us the keys to his house and his whole world.
Yeah.
And he's going to say, I got it, B. Or I got it, Jamar. I got it, JJ, right? So that's the special thing about that relationship, because we're the only ones on the field that our destiny is in someone else's hands. The quarterback, he touches it every play. Offensive lineman, go do your job, right? Running back's going to touch it 15, 20, 25 times a game. Wide receiver, I need the offensive line to block. I need the quarterback to look my way. I need the offensive coordinator to make the play, the call. And also, I need T to fall down every once in a while so I can be wide open to get a touchdown, right? So I think that's why you see, the mental makeup of some of us, at the receiver position. And so that relationship is critical, because a lot of times, that's the guy to come to you and be like, you need to chill out, right? You've seen it with, last year, the Eagles went through it. AJ and Smitty.
Yeah.
That was big. And AJ being able to check himself or whatever was happening there, and for them to overcome that, like, all right, let's put our egos to the side and let's just go put football first and win. And look, they went to the Super Bowl and they won it.
Yeah.
And that's basically become the meta with team building, right? Getting those two elite wide receivers. You look around all the teams that make it to the conference championship game, they have that 1-2 punch. It's what makes the Bills such an anomaly, too, because they really haven't been able to land that star combination. So we'll see if they can do it this year.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Because everybody's talking, like, everybody keeps asking. This is the time now. All right, we're on a pre-game show, and everybody's asking with football. All right, what's your prediction? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who do you have? And then when I say my answer, everybody's like, well, what about Buffalo? That's why I don't think Buffalo has a chance. It's because they don't have that guy. I know we talk about, our game tomorrow with Herbert, and Herbert being the guy who can make the play. When the game's on the line, who's the guy? Who's the guy? And so I'm concerned for Buffalo, because Josh Allen is special. He's a guy. But the guy need a guy, and I don't. It's not there. It's not there.
Tyrann, what are you most excited about with tomorrow's game?
For me, I'm defensive, oriented. I just want to see how the defense plays, right? Because I don't think that was their best game, their last game in the Super Bowl. And so I know Spags didn't go to sleep. I know Coach Merritt ain't sleep. Nick Bolton, Trick McDuffie. I know those guys haven't slept since that game. And so I'm excited to see those guys come out and just do their thing.
Is it hard? Like, can you now watch football, or will you be able to watch it as a fan and just enjoy it? Or will your mind always go into game film mode, seeing where the QB and the receivers are?
I just think that's how I was trained. That's how I was raised up. I've had a lot of great coaches too, and so I'm all about the fundamentals,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, like, even when I coach my boys, like, I can't help myself, or if I'm watching them on the sideline, like, to see, hey, the safety's leaning. Let's throw the skinny post. Telling my son playing quarterback at 9 years old, look the safety off left, throw the
Right,
seam to the right.
right.
You know, I can't help myself. I can't just let him play, and then all of a sudden he looks, kid runs this way, and it's a wide open seam for 60. You know, I'm like, I don't think I can help myself because that's how we've been trained for so long.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I do that with my son since he's been playing flag football. He's 10 now, but he started at like 6 or 7 years old. And I'm like, son, the quarterback is not going to look you off. Just look at his eyes. Wherever he goes, go right away. You're going to get a big. That's it. Just follow his eyes.
Yep. That's what I used to do in high school, man.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I just took so many guys' routes, man. But we scored a touchdown. I scored. So I guess it, makes sense. But yeah.
What do you? How do you see tomorrow's game playing out? You think it is going to be more of a defensive battle?
I think early on, defenses are usually more ahead of the offenses, especially in training camp and OTAs. You'll see how it goes week 1. I don't know who played in the preseason or anything like that. And so usually defenses are a little more ahead, but also you're dealing with 2 coaches that are schematic. They're going to put you in stacks and bunches. They're going to put you in tight splits, make the defense communicate, talk through something. There's going to be there could be a wide open receiver. There could be some, that's week 1 stuff. You hope it's not, but, I feel like it's going to come down to the end of the game. Like we've talked about for all morning, is who's going to have the ball last, and is Pat going to make the throw at the end? We know he can. Or is Herbert going to make the play at the end? We know he can. But are the guys around him ready? And so we know the quarterbacks, they're going to be ready. They're ready mentally. They're ready to go. They're ready to battle. The Chargers are ready to try and take down the Chiefs. I know what that's like, thinking about that all offseason. Oh, we got to take down the Chiefs this year. Got to take down the Chiefs. So I know what that feeling's like, and so we'll see. We'll see what it looks like.
You don't think Patrick Mahomes is bored right now, right?
Yeah.
Like when he first got in the league, it was dynamic. It was, the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
And now it's been Spags, like you said, defense. It was you guys that start changing it, that turned this thing into a dynasty.
He's got to be.
Is he not bored? Like, man, I want to put up 40 again.
Yeah, I said that, man.
You know,
he was just so dynamic, to start his career off, right? But what I'm proud of him about, what I appreciate the most is that, he's found a way to kind of take what the defense gives him. Like he'll throw that 5-yard hitch all the way down the field. You know what I mean? And so I think that says a lot about him, as a quarterback.
But is that really him, Carr, right? Like, I feel like he's like a Brett Favre. It's like, let me let loose.
Let me bounce around 8 seconds and just gas one in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I feel like I would always tell Gruden, I was like, hey, I would always be like, hey, keep my arm in it. And what that meant to me is like, you got to let me rip one at some point.
Right.
And because that's just what is in me. And I know that's in Pat. Like, I was like, I promise you I won't throw it every time, but the fact that you called it just gives me that, okay, I got a chance to throw it. Instead of trying to force it throughout the game. Because I think what you saw is we did a study on the scramble drill. And because when I first got in the league, it's like sit in the pocket, complete the pass, or check it down to the back. Right. It wasn't really like scramble. It was not how we were trained coming up. Yeah. And then it started turning into that, so we started studying it. And you watched the Chiefs, and when he was doing that, you saw some dropped interceptions, different things. So I know at some point a coach was like, "Hey, man,
a lot of drop
let's not turn the ball over. We want to win games, all that." So I hope that hasn't gotten too much in him. But here we are talking about someone. He was in the Super Bowl. Right. But we know what he can be. He's walking Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. He's so fun to watch. But absolutely, we want to see him rip the ball down the field.
If you were getting frustrated in a game running the ball too much and felt like he wasn't keeping your arm warm, did you have the leeway to, audible out of a call and be like, all right, I'm just throwing this one?
I never had to worry about it. Gruden took care of me. We threw the heck out of it. We got Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. We got these dudes like, we're going to throw the ball. And I had free reign at the line. Like, that was so free, and that's why we played well. That's why because he didn't have to be perfect. He didn't have to guess right on his little play sheet. He knew that if he trained me a certain way, I could get out there, and if it wasn't going to work, I can get us to something that was. Yeah. And so that's why it was awesome. And so I was like, hey, man, I might cut one loose, and he'll give me the eye. He'll turn Chucky on me every now and then. Mm-hmm. But then I knew, okay, I got to rein it back in.
You've been giving us a little tease of the Jon Gruden impersonation. Do you think you're going to, debut that on Global TV tomorrow?
I think I'm going to debut it tomorw.
Okay, you're going to save it,
I'll save it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely when you spend enough time with somebody, like when I'm talking to my kids at the dinner table, it just comes out, and they're just looking at me like, Dad, you're doing it again. You're doing it again. And so like one of the things, I'll give you one, like all the time Gruden would always tell me it's not good enough. So when I'm my son, he'll run or he'll do something. I'll be like, hey, Dallas, it's not quick enough. Hey, son, hey, I know you did good at your game, but it's not good enough. Man. You got to keep going.
Right.
And they'll just look at me like, Dad, come on, man. But it's like Uncle Gru, man. That's their grandpa. They've known him since they were little, running around his front yard.
you.
Tyrann, did you have any coaches like that who brought a little humor to the table, or was it all business for you?
Man, I'm trying to think. Humor? I had Bruce Arian, like he used to talk a lot of crap. He'll call you out to in the media. I had Bill O'Brien. He was, he's kind of crazy too. Yeah, man, I don't know.
It's all
I
business.
don't know. It's all business. Romeo Cornell. I mean, I had some great coaches, man, but all of them was about their business, So, it was always serious for the most part.
It is like interesting conversation in fantasy circles. Scoring has been down last year, and talking about the way defenses have adapted, the cover two, and keeping
that two
everything. That two shell. So is that like what kind of game plans are you guys implementing to say, hey, I don't want these T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, ripping the top off of us and scoring all these fantasy points?
Yeah, well, I think that's why a lot of teams come out in two shells, because you're trying to discourage the quarterback and a play caller from calling that, right? Like, just take the 5 yards we're showing you, right? Like, looks like cover two, just take the little 3-yard hitch, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the main things I've seen is the disguise has gotten crazier since I got in the league. The disguise, Tyrann's standing here, but he's playing the middle over here, and now he's on the line of scrimmage, now he's running back, and all that stuff. And like you said, I'd rather you try and beat me 15 plays rather than just one big one. Like, I want you to. So what I think, the NFL goes in circles.
Yeah.
It's a cycle. We're throwing the ball at single high. Now it's too high. Watch this run game. Watch the Chargers. They're going to trot out there probably in goal line personnel at some point and just run power. It just goes in waves. They're all trying to catch up to everyone's got to catch up to the run game with the quarterbacks now. Like, they have numbers in the run game. How are you going to stop that? And so watching those schemes, it'll be fun to watch and see what that looks like. But in tomorrow's game, I guarantee the Chargers can come out there in 13 personnel and try and run it straight downhill and say, I dare you to play too high versus this. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Brandon, I mean, speaking of things changing, all-time in-game reception record, 21. You think that will ever be broken?
We still have that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember watching that.
I do too. That was
13 years is wild. It'll be hard, but it'll happen. Especially now, like he said, at the end of the day, we want to throw the ball. We want to put points on the board. And all the rules have changed, too, to put offenses in position to score more. Why? Because the business of football is better when we're scoring, and it's electric. So eventually it will happen. But what you need is a dynamic receiver, a quarterback who's going to look for that receiver. It's not always the case. And you need to be down. Right? We were down when we were playing against the Colts. It was Peyton Manning. We were losing, so we had to throw the ball. So that's why I was able to get to 21 catches.
Tyrann, if someone's cooking you for 15-plus catches, at what point do you say, we got to send a double, a triple team and just shut this down?
Anybody but him.
I've always been blessed. I played with Patrick Petersons. I played with some good cover guys, but 21 catches in the game?
Yeah.
But they were playing coverage. It was the Colts. Remember the Colts, Peyton Manning's days, they would play two.
Yeah.
So they were playing a little bit of one, a little bit of two. But at the same time, too, they were like, we're winning. We don't care.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
They're going to let you catch it.
That's right.
There was an infamous Steph Curry college basketball game, and he was cooking at Davidson, and I forget who they were playing. I think it was St. Mary's maybe, and they just decided to double or triple team him and literally leave another guy open. And they won by like 50 points. Absolutely. But the other team was just like, we're not going to let Steph Curry shoot. We don't care.
Let's try to overlook. Like, you had 21 catches. Like, they didn't just give you 21.
Yeah.
Like when LeBron, they were like, LeBron scored 40 in the finals. Hey, they let you score 40. He's like, they didn't let me score 40. I took 40.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter what you're playing. You still did it. So I got to give you that on that. Like, you still did it.
Yeah. It's all mindset, too. I remember that week leading up to it, I just kept saying crescendo, crescendo. So I would start off the week very quiet. Crescendo, crescendo. Crescendo is the sound getting bigger and bigger, right? And about Friday comes Fast Friday. I'm loud running around the field, crescendo, crescendo. But Jay-Z just launched a new album, and he just like morphed and elevated into like a grown man era. And so I was like, man, I'm gonna embody Jay-Z this game, literally. So I was just smooth. It's like, like Larry Fitzgerald, you score a touchdown, hand it to the ref. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to do it.
Right.
Before the game, I went to Michael Smith, who was at ESPN at the time, and I took off my headphones, just warm up, and I said, hey, I'm telling you this now so you can record this, right? This is gonna be the greatest game I ever played. Wow. And I put my headphones on, I ran. So I say that because when you think about mindset and what goes into the game, a lot. 80% of it is mental.
It is.
You know, and you're just always searching for that type of game to be in flow where you're just there. I didn't even know I was about to break the record. We had a receiver sit next to me, and he was like, just staring. I was like, bro, why are you staring at me?
Because he's like, give me one of those catches. I'll just take one of them.
No, he was just like, no, it was opposite. He was like, yo, you're one catch away from breaking a record. Everybody knew except me, the whole team.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I said, what? Why? I slapped him in the back of the head. I said, why you ain't been telling me that already? I said, I need to know. And then I went to Coach McDaniels. And I said, Coach, did you know I was about to break the record? He said, yes, everybody knows, Brandon. I said, okay, y'all going to get it, right? He said, yeah.
Yeah, good.
The last play of the game, it was supposed to be, I was supposed to run a seam route. And Cal Orton, they wanted to get me the record. The play before was just a simple bubble, and he threw it in the dirt. Right? This is the record.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What are you doing? So the last play, they said, go run the seam. I said, man, scratch that. Just keep your eyes on me. I'm just going to get open. Yeah. And I just threw the guy and just got And then I tried to get the first down. I pitched it to Cooper, our offensive guard, to see if he can pick up the first down, but game was over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a game your fantasy managers would have been very thrilled with you. That's just 21 baseline points there for the catches, not in addition to the 200 yards and all of that.
The cool thing about fantasy, and you guys will see this now, you know, if you guys stay retired.
We get a
5
throw
years from
clear
now.
for McDaniels and a retired for these guys. Lots of
shots.
editorializing over here.
Yeah. But you're going to see people, if they're not doing it already, they're going to come up to you and be like, yo, you won me my fantasy league in 2015, 2006. They remember that stuff. Yeah. Like, no, and they're not even playing around. They remember it. It's that serious. It's that big. Yeah.
I'll toss out a few of the sleeper quarterbacks the fantasy community is excited about this year. Drake May, second year there. Bryce Young, third year after they draft Tetaroya. I'll give you another one there. Trevor Lawrence with Liam Cohen there. Any of those guys jump out to you this year?
Trevor, I've always been a big fan of Trevor. Super talented, smart, works hard, has all the ability, right? He's one guy, you see all the ability, but I think we're all waiting for it to all come together and piece together. Now, when you keep changing coaches, and I've been there, it sucks. It does. It's tough, but hopefully this is the right fit. Once you hit that right fit and you just skyrocket, it's a lot of fun. Drake also, you know, Josh, I think Josh is perfect for him because Drake's young. You know, he's a young guy, and Josh can teach him and train him exactly how he wants him to be. You know, for me, when I got with Josh, I had 8,000 different voices in my head, and now Josh is showing up saying, I do it this way and this way. And that was hard. That was hard at first for us to figure that out. But I think it's good for Drake that Josh is there because now he's going to learn that system, and they're going to be there a while. You know, he's going to learn it. He's going to stay there. He's going to grow. He's going to be consistent. And then for Bryce Young, throw it to Hunter. Throw it to Hunter Renfrow. I'm telling you right now, throw the ball to Hunter Renfrow, you'll be fine. He'll be open.
Wow. Yeah. He at first he was on. It seemed like he was not going to be a thing, and then they put Jalen Coker on IR, and now it's Hunter Renfrow starting slot receiver. There was an incredible video where he said they were trying to call him to tell him, and his daughter was watching Bluey on her phone.
True, absolutely true. Anything Hunter says is 100% true. But any advice for that team, make sure you throw it to 13 because you're going to get down the road and they're going to watch all the film and be like, he's always open. Let's just skip that and start now. He could easily be a 115 catch guy. They just got to let him
listen to me. Just say, just listen.
Please. He led us to the playoffs in 2020. Like, throw him the
Isn't
football.
it crazy how simple football is and we just complicate it sometimes?
Big time. Hunter Renfrow's going to be open.
Easy.
There you go. Easy, and it is very easy to watch tomorrow's game. It is going to be on YouTube for the entire world to see. We'll be back here at 7 p.m. Eastern for the pregame show, game at 8 p.m. Can't wait. Thank you to Derek, Tyrann, Brandon here, and all the team at YouTube and NFL. Thank you to everyone watching live, all of my fantasy nerds. I appreciate you guys. We will see you tomorrow for the big game from Brazil.
Why they gotta be nerds?
Because they are.
Smart guy.
All right, we're clear on my end.
Did you just control that? Like,
Yeah.
you just went live and